hot rumors coming out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Has Matt Rhule going to Nebraska to be the new head football coach? We say at Peek Around the Corner, not so fast. And we're also going to be talking about Brett McMurphy's Action Network's new bowl projections for the 2022 bowl season. As we roll into week number 12, welcome to episode 92 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. Before we get into these two stories, please smash the like button if you like our content. Please share the video with your family and friends. And please subscribe to our ever-growing channel. We thank you so very much. Let's first get to the bowl projections of Brett McMurphy's Action Network like we do every week. And then we're going to get into this new hot rumor coming out of Lincoln. Again, the next head coach of Nebraska, the next rumor, it seems to be a new hot rumor, one every single week. Last week it was Deion Sanders. So we don't think it's going to be Matt Rhule. We think he'd be a great selection. However, well, we'll get into that in a moment. But first of all, let's get into the new bowl projections from Brett McMurphy's Action Network. The Trading Cure Bowl, UAB, Appalachian State, the Bahama Bowls, North Texas, Ohio. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl, Louisville, East Carolina, LA Bowl, Washington State, Boise State, New Mexico Bowl, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Wyoming, and Rice. The Lending Tree Bowl, Ball State, Marshall. The Frisco Bowl, Houston, Air Force. That would be a great matchup in Frisco, Texas. The Las Vegas Bowl, this seems to be switched every single week. Florida versus USC. Now, USC's only got one loss, but it looks like Brett McMurphy and Action Network doesn't believe USC is going to win the Pac-12 championship. Very interesting. I don't think they will either. I don't think their defense is quite ready to take the Pac-12 championship here in the first year under Lincoln Riley. Myrtle Beach Bowl, Middle Tennessee versus South Alabama. And the Boca Raton Bowl, San Diego State versus Liberty. The Potato Bowl, Toledo versus UNLV. All this according to Brett McMurphy's Action Network's new bowl projections. New Orleans Bowl, Western Kentucky versus Troy. In the Armed Forces Bowl, SMU, Michigan State. Michigan State got their fifth win of the season last week. It looks like they're going to get their sixth this Saturday. Brett McMurphy had Michigan State in the bowls a couple weeks ago. I said Brett McMurphy Action Network was wrong. It looks like I was wrong. He was right. SMU versus Michigan State in the Armed Forces Bowl. In the Independence Bowl, Louisiana versus Tulane. Tulane takes a huge tumble. They were projected to go to the Cotton Bowl. They've fallen all the way back to the Independence Bowl with their big loss last Saturday to UCF. In the Gasparilla Bowl, Syracuse, Coastal Carolina. In the Hawaii Bowl, San Jose State, UTSA. In the Quick Lane Bowl. The story of last Saturday when it comes to teams becoming bowl eligible for the first time in a long time, the UConn Huskies got their sixth win under Jim Mora Jr. What an unbelievable job he has done in his first year as UConn head football coach. UConn makes it to a bowl game. Now, in this bowl projection, it's the Quick Lane Bowl, UConn versus Central Michigan. In this article, in Brett McMurphy's article, and I encourage you to read it, it does describe how UConn isn't automatically going to go to a bowl game just because they're bowl eligible, because they're an independence team. They do not have a automatic tie into any certain bowl game. However, in accordance to Brett McMurphy's Action Network's reporting, it does look like there will not be the automatic 80 to 81 teams needed to fill up all these bowl games. Therefore, it does look like UConn does have a clear pathway to get to a bowl game. They are bowl eligible. They did win their sixth game last Saturday against Liberty. Here they play Central Michigan. Congrats to the UConn Huskies. Iowa State, Oregon State in the First Responder Bowl. Birmingham Bowl, BYU Memphis. Eastern Michigan, Southern Mississippi, and Montgomery, Alabama. The Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Maryland versus Kansas. In the Military Bowl, North Carolina State versus Cincinnati. Liberty Bowl, Oklahoma, Arizona. Arizona looks like they're going to make a bowl game. Huge win last Saturday against UCLA. Huge win for that football program. The Holiday Bowl, Florida State versus Utah. Texas Bowl, Baylor versus South Carolina. The Pinstripe Bowl, Duke versus my beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers. It looks like Brett McMurphy does not believe Minnesota can beat Iowa and Wisconsin here in the next 2 weeks, because if they do so, they will not be playing in the Pinstripe Bowl. The Cheez-It Bowl gets the two biggest brands in the country, Notre Dame versus the Texas Longhorns. The Alamo Bowl, Oklahoma State versus UCLA. Big drop for UCLA with a huge loss to Arizona last Saturday. Duke's Mayo Bowl, Pittsburgh versus Purdue. The Tigers Sun Bowl, Wake Forest versus Washington. The Gator Bowl, Clemson, Mississippi State. Arizona Bowl, Buffalo, Fresno State. Music City Bowl, Wisconsin versus Arkansas. Wisconsin just suffered their 5th loss of the season. They have to play Nebraska this weekend, and then they go against my Golden Gophers the last Saturday of the season, and I believe the Gophers will beat Wisconsin. I think that's the game that the winner will go to the Music City Bowl. We shall see. We shall see Iowa versus Kentucky in the ReliaQuest Bowl, which used to be the Outback Bowl, the Citrus Bowl. Illinois versus Ole Miss. I don't think Illinois is going to make it to the Citrus Bowl. They just suffered another loss. They're going to lose again to Michigan this weekend. We shall see. We shall see. North Carolina versus Alabama in the Orange Bowl. North Carolina, Drake May. Holy smokes, what a season he's having. Those two, May versus Bryce Young in the Orange Bowl, that would be a fantastic game. Kansas State, an incredible season. Will Howard, the backup quarterback, making a huge impact for the Wildcats versus LSU. Brian Kelly, tremendous first year for Brian Kelly at LSU. Penn State, UCF in the Cotton Bowl. UCF, right? They beat Tulane, so now they get this spot against Penn State in the Cotton Bowl. Rose Bowl, Oregon Ducks versus the Michigan Wolverines. So Brett McMurphy has it projected as we roll into week 12 that Michigan will lose to Ohio State in 2 weeks and not make the college football playoffs. And the college football playoffs, the semifinal projections, according to Brett Murphy Action Network, the Buckeyes, Ohio State versus the TCU Horned Frogs, the Georgia Bulldogs versus the Tennessee Volunteers with the championship game, Georgia and Ohio State. I can't see anything wrong with that. I can't see anything wrong with those last 4 teams. I think TCU is going to go undefeated, and they will get there. The winner, the Buckeyes, Wolverines, of course, will get there. Georgia will get there. It all depends on who that 4th team is. Will it be a 1-loss non-SEC champion in Tennessee? Could it be a 1-loss USC Pac-12 team? I don't think they're going to get there. Could be a 1-loss Michigan team with their only loss being Ohio State. That's a strong possibility. Put down your thoughts and comments in the comment section below the video. I read them all. Let me know what you think about Brett McMurphy's Action Network's bowl projections. Now, let's get to the big story. The huge story. The big rumors. The next new rumors coming out of Lincoln, Nebraska. There's one every week. And I can't really blame them, right? Look at Nebraska. They fired Scott Frost. 3rd week of the season. He should have never been a coach this year. Trevor Edwards made that, I consider, a big mistake. He wasted this whole year. Okay, so now they're doing a coaching search. The reason why Trevor Edwards made that move so early in the season, so he could get out ahead of all these other universities, these other athletic directors that were also going to fire their coach, to get out ahead, to be able to talk to agents. And this is another down season for Nebraska and its fan base. So they are so eager for a change. They want a change. They want their new leader to emerge. Who's it going to be? We have Peek Around the Corner. Our last prediction was Bill O'Brien. We think he would be someone that Trev Alberts would be interested in. We also think there's a candidate that's starting to emerge in Mark Stoops of Kentucky. We'll get into that in a second. But there's this new rumor, just hot off the message boards of Nebraska, the Twitter board, saying that Matt Rhule, that he was seen at some gas station in Lincoln, that he was actually at the football stadium, being paraded around the stadium. We consider that all not true here at Peek Around the Corner. But let me bring up an article that was written in 2017 from Barry Trammel, the Oklahoman. Let's take a look at it. This is written in 2017. This is an article about Matt Rhule taking the Baylor job and why he took the job. And when I read you this article, this part of the article that's important, I want you to reflect on why would Matt Rhule take the Nebraska job if this is what he really wants in a coaching position. The first part of the article was talking about how Matt Rhule was born in New York in the shadow of Penn State. He was a walk-on at Penn State. We all know about that. We'll get to the part of the article that says Rhule was atop Oregon's list. Now, this is back in 2017. Who would pick Baylor over Oregon? Who would take a scandal-ridden job in a place you knew through only a fixer-upper, the HGTV hit show in which Chip and Joanna Gaines seemingly restore every house in Waco? It's funny. We watched so many episodes of Fixer Upper. We felt like we knew the town, Rhule said this week at a Big 12 Media Days. Rhule didn't know Baylor, but he knew the athletic director, Mack Rhoades. I knew if he came here, there was something special here, Rhule said, starting to recite why he chose Baylor. So remember now, Rhule knew the athletic director. That seemed to be very important to him. Does he know Trev Alberts? We'll go back to the article. It's a university that kinds of share my values. A university that believes in faith, service, and leadership. That's how my parents raised me. The chance to coach college football in the Big 12, an elite football institution, an elite academic institution. Now here's the important part. To live in Central Texas where I can recruit all my kids within 3 or 4 hours, not getting on a plane and flying to wherever. We just said this is perfect, and it feels like so far. I'm going to repeat that part. This is Matt Rhule telling you why in 2017 he picked Baylor over Oregon. To live in Central Texas where I can recruit all my kids within 3 or 4 hours, not getting on a plane and flying to wherever. We just said this is perfect. Not flying to wherever. Well, then Matt Rhule, Nebraska is not the right spot for you. Because at Nebraska, you won't believe living in Central Texas. At Nebraska, you're going to have the incredible fan base, unbelievable resources, incredible facilities. They're building a Taj Mahal there. I mean, the facilities are only going to get better at Nebraska. You have all the exposure in the world being on NBC, CBS, Fox. You have it all at Nebraska, but you are going to have to get on a plane all the time and grind to recruit at Nebraska. You're going to have to fly to wherever. Now, I don't think if Trev Alberts knew that Matt Rhule said this in 2017, you better believe Trev Alberts, if he even interviewed Matt Rhule for this new job at Nebraska, he better have asked this question about his feelings of recruiting. Because at Nebraska, you have to be a national recruiter. You have to get on the plane to wherever, whenever, and you have to grind. You have to grind. Nebraska fan base won't expect anything less. The high expectations of Nebraska has been set because of decades of success. Matt Rhule going to Lincoln, Nebraska to be the next head football coach. We at Peek Around the Corner, after reading this, Not so fast. Not so fast. Here's a name that we brought up in the early part of the episode. Let's take a look at Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops. He was born in Iowa. He attended high school in Youngstown, Ohio. He was a graduate assistant coach at Iowa from 1989 to 1991. He became an assistant at Kansas State. You know his long career, Miami, Arizona, Florida State, and he became the new head football coach at Kentucky in 2012. Look at the job he's done at Kentucky. 2-10, 2013, 5-7, 5-7, 7-6, 7-6, 10-3 in 2018, 8-5 in 2019. The COVID season, then last year they won 10 games. This year they're 6-4. At a non-football school, look at the job Mark Stoops has done for Kentucky. Now, I have often said here at Peek Around the Corner, we do not see any SEC coaches leaving an SEC program to go to the Big Ten. But Mark Stoops might be an exception. He's got a certain family dynamic that's playing out where he would probably enjoy coaching at Nebraska to be closer to his sons that would be now living in Colorado. We think there's a chance that Mark Stoops might have been interviewed by Trev Alberts, and he might be one of the top on the list for the Nebraska head football coach. Bill O'Brien, Mark Stoops. But Matt Rhule, that's the hot rumor, right? That's the hot rumor. But wow, do you really want, as a Nebraska Cornhusker football fan, for your athletic director to hire a guy who doesn't want to get on a plane to go wherever, whenever, to recruit for your football team? That would be a hard sell. Let me know what you think in the comment section below the video. Stick with us here at Peek Around the Corner. Tonight, we're going to be doing a live show starting at 7:30 Central Time. We're going to be doing reaction to real time when they drop the College Football Playoff Selection Committee drops their top 25 rankings. So join us at our live show and follow us tomorrow and the next day and Friday, because that UCLA's fate's going to be decided in the Big Ten by the University of California Board of Regents. That news should be coming out either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of this week. So stick with us here at Peek Around the Corner. Until next time, from all of us to all of you, please, you all take care of each other. Thank you so very much.